Something unusually quiet, but strategically historic, has taken place in Ottawa. Behind closed doors, Canada made a defense decision that is now reverberating through Washington, NATO headquarters, and the global arms industry. It was not announced with spectacle, nor framed as a dramatic break. Yet, its implications challenge decades of assumptions about military dependence, alliance loyalty, and how modern power is actually exercised. Before we go deeper, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Staying informed matters, especially as decisions like this reshape global security in ways that rarely make headlines at first. Canada, one of the United States' closest defense partners and a founding pillar of NORAD, chose not to move forward with the F-35 fighter jet program. Instead, Ottawa selected Sweden's Gripen E, a decision that immediately raised eyebrows across NATO. On the surface, the F-35 appeared to be the default option. It dominates Western air forces, anchors joint operations, and symbolizes interoperability within US-led alliances. But Canada's calculation was never just about aircraft performance or price tags. It was about control, autonomy, and long-term sovereignty. Modern air power is no longer defined solely by engines and airframes. It is shaped by software, data access, encrypted diagnostics, and upgrade permissions. The F-35 operates inside a tightly controlled digital ecosystem, where mission systems, updates, and maintenance pipelines remain governed by US contractors. Participating nations gain capability, but not full ownership. Access is conditional. Modifications require approval. Over time, operational independence becomes quietly constrained. Canada evaluated that structure with a long horizon in mind. Every future upgrade, system adjustment, or operational change would depend on external authorization. For Ottawa, that model posed a strategic risk. Sovereignty, once delegated in software layers, is difficult to reclaim. The Gripen E offered a fundamentally different framework. Designed around operator control, the platform grants the user authority over software, maintenance, and system integration. Under the agreement, Canada gains the right to modify, upgrade, and sustain the aircraft domestically. Assembly, long-term maintenance, and future adaptations are carried out on Canadian soil. The relationship shifts from buyer to owner, and that distinction reshapes everything. Nowhere does this matter more than the Arctic. Canada's northern geography imposes extreme demands: brutal cold, vast distances, limited infrastructure, and long response times. Aircraft operating there must function far from major bases and pristine runways. The Gripen was engineered for exactly those conditions. It can operate from short, rough runways, including highways and dispersed forward locations. It requires fewer personnel and less infrastructure to remain mission-ready. By contrast, advanced stealth platforms perform best from large, highly maintained bases with specialized support systems. In a high-threat environment, concentrating assets creates vulnerability. Dispersed operations increase survivability. Gripen's ability to launch from roughly 800 meters of roadway, refuel quickly, and relocate changes the logic of northern air defense. This capability matters as Arctic competition intensifies. Russia has expanded northern airfields, radar coverage, and icebreaker fleets. As climate change opens shipping lanes and exposes new resources, the region's strategic value continues to rise. Canada's aging CF-18 fleet struggled to maintain persistent coverage in these conditions. The Gripen alters that equation by sustaining high sortie rates even in severe weather. Electronic warfare further strengthens the platform's relevance. Rather than relying solely on stealth, Gripen emphasizes sensor disruption, network interference, and adaptive survivability. Its modular maintenance design allows small teams to conduct rapid repairs and engine swaps at forward sites. In contested scenarios, air power remains mobile instead of grounded. Washington's response unfolded mostly behind diplomatic doors. Meetings intensified. Assessments followed. Concerns were raised about interoperability and alliance cohesion. But the deeper anxiety went beyond a single contract. If a core ally could step outside the F-35 ecosystem, others might reassess their own dependence. Across Europe, defense ministries quietly began re-examining long-term operating costs, industrial participation, and maintenance sovereignty. NATO's technical reality softened some fears. Gripen integrates with alliance data links, weapons, and communication standards. Joint operations remain viable. Analysts noted that interoperability depends more on doctrine and coordination than identical equipment. In many cases, diversification reduces systemic risk rather than increasing it. Industrial impact proved decisive. The Gripen program includes final assembly in Montreal, extensive domestic manufacturing, and long-term workforce development. Thousands of engineers receive advanced training. Canadian firms integrate directly into the supply chain. Universities gain access to avionics and systems research. Defense spending circulates within the national economy instead of flowing outward, rebuilding aerospace capacity that once defined Canadian innovation. Maintenance autonomy reinforces the logic. When systems are externally controlled, resolving technical issues depends on permissions and scheduling. With Gripen, Canadian crews diagnose and fix problems independently. Aircraft return to service faster. Operational planning remains national. That authority matters most when missions involve sensitive sovereign interests. Pilot training also benefits. The cockpit design prioritizes intuitive interaction and workload reduction. Training timelines shorten. Readiness improves. Sensor fusion meets modern standards while remaining customizable. Canada can adapt systems for Arctic conditions and integrate domestic early warning networks without external approval. Technology aligns with geography, not the other way around. Politically, the message is unambiguous. Canada is not rejecting alliances. It is redefining its role within them. Strategic independence does not weaken partnerships. It matures them. Alliances evolve when members bring capability, not dependency. The ripple effects continue. Other nations are studying the model, not necessarily to replicate it, but to understand how security and sovereignty can coexist. Allies are not captive markets. They are sovereign states, balancing collective defense with national control. Parallel to this shift, Canada has also moved to modernize its strategic airlift. The federal government selected Bombardier to supply 6 Global 6500 aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force under the newly established Defence Investment Agency. Valued at approximately $753 million Canadian dollars, the contract initiates the retirement of the aging CC-144 Challenger fleet. Deliveries are scheduled to begin in summer 2027, with initial operational capability expected before year's end. The accelerated timeline reflects a clear intent to break from historically slow procurement cycles. Acquired under the Airlift Capability Project, the aircraft are designed for flexibility rather than narrow specialization. Once operational, they will support aeromedical evacuations, humanitarian missions, disaster response, and national security operations at home and abroad. The contract includes crew training, maintenance instruction, and military-specific modifications, ensuring readiness upon delivery rather than years later. Operationally, the upgrade addresses a growing gap. The Challenger fleet, while reliable, lacks the range, payload, and adaptability demanded by modern missions. Recent emergencies and overseas operations exposed those limits. The Global 6500 fleet delivers extended reach, endurance, and responsiveness. Taken together, these decisions signal a broader shift. Canada is asserting long-term control over its defense capabilities, aligning technology with geography, and ensuring that sovereignty is preserved not just on paper, but in software, maintenance, and industrial capacity. This is not defiance. It is strategic maturity. In a world of deep interdependence, Canada has demonstrated that autonomy remains achievable. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe and leave a like. Staying informed is essential, as quiet decisions today reshape the balance of power tomorrow.